I'm Janet. We're from the stage. I'm here with Matt Cook today. We're going to talk a little bit about his journey of music. Hi, Matt. Welcome.
Hi, Janet. Thanks so much for having me.
When did you start in your journey of music?
So I started playing piano when I was 5, and I just kind of always had said that I kind of instinctively knew that I was going to be a musician just because I wanted to play the piano that badly. And fortunately, my mom afforded me piano lessons growing up. And then by around the time I was a teenager, that's when I first discovered Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. I heard God Only Knows on the Wonder Years of all things.
Oh,
And I listened to Pet Sounds and just fell in love with it and I was probably the only 12-year-old obsessed with Brian Wilson, certainly from my generation, because all that stuff was before me, but really inspired me that much more to want to be a musician and a songwriter in particular.
were you singing along with him then?
I was, yeah. I've been singing. I sang in choir from the earliest time I could in elementary school, and that's something I did all throughout college. So I've always been a singer too. But I did try to. Brian Wilson's early falsetto voice. I really tried to mimic that. You know.
When did you start writing?
I guess my earliest attempts were in high school, like 14, 15 years old. Some of those weren't that good, or I just didn't finish stuff too. But my best friend Jeff Ulrich and we kind of did like a acoustic singing duo in high school. So I played piano and sang, he played acoustic guitar and sang. He was a songwriter too, so we kind of inspired each other, writing things back and forth. And I guess I built up a collection of songs while I was in high school, that by the time I was 19 was when I recorded my first album, Coast to Coast, actually recorded it in 2004. And then released it in 2005 when I was only 19 years old. So,
Where did you record it?
My friend Pete Andrews, who I also met when I was in high school, and I still record with him to this day. He's like one of my best friends. He has a recording studio at his house in Middletown called Submergent Music, which used to be in the basement, and now he has this massive, legit studio that's he built an extension behind his house. It's probably been operating out of there for 4 years now. So I did my most recent record up in the new studio, but all the other earlier stuff was down in the basement.
So how have your life experiences affected your music?
Well, some days I feel even older than I am. I'm only 34, but I've been through a lot. You know, I moved to California when I was 19. Went to school in Los Angeles. I think it's important. It makes you a more worldly person to experience different places. And, LA especially was like a melting pot when I was at school, because I met people that were from all different parts of the country and the world for that matter. So, I was very thankful to have the opportunity to live on a completely different side of the country for a significant amount of time. And I went through some tough family times with my dad. He wasn't the very nicest person to my mom, and that was a struggle. And one of the reasons I moved back to New Jersey was to kind of heal from all that, and the irony of that was I ended up getting very ill myself. Became a type 1 diabetic back in 2010. And I know we've talked about this before. I know, but I was in really bad shape. I was in a life-threatening diabetic coma. First 4 days, the doctors weren't even sure if I was going to survive or not. So that was the burden that my mom and my brother and my sister had. And fortunately, through the doctors, through my faith, because I've always been a Christian my whole life too. I had friends. I don't remember it, but my mom told me the stories of friends from my church, Pete being one of them, and Jeff. Holding hands, praying over me while I was actually in the ICU. So, fortunately, I came out of that coma. It was a long road back. I didn't have a voice for 4 months afterwards too, so I was also concerned I was never going to be able to sing again. So it was also very traumatic. But the first year was the toughest after diagnosis, just getting used to this, different body that I have to live in now with an autoimmune disease, because it's not easy, but it did help shape my music, honestly, because how could it not, I guess, right?
How does in terms of what you've been through, how many songs have you written that relate specifically to that experience? Did they just flow out of you?
Yeah, it's a lot of the songs on my second record, Live, Laugh, Love. That's my second album that came out in 2013. A lot of those songs, I don't really remember writing them. It's almost like they were just so divinely inspired. A lot of them were actually still written when I was in California, and I was working on the record for a while, and when I got sick, that was right midway through finishing that record, so it almost didn't get done because I almost lost my life. But the irony was, I didn't have an album title, and the album title ended up being Live, Laugh, Love, and that was the song that I wrote. The earliest parts of it, I was getting the melody idea while I was still in the hospital. So that was the first song I wrote after waking up from my coma. But yeah, it's the same thing with my faith too. It's like I don't have to force these things into my songs. They're just going to come out anyway from the experiences that I've been through.
In the flow.
Yeah, it really just it flows through me. Like there's no right or wrong way to write a song. So it's the more recent stuff I've done. I'm actually like I get the arrangement done musically, and then I kind of have the music inspire the lyrical idea too, almost writing backwards in a sense.
So you write the music first, and then the lyrics, you're saying?
That's what I've been doing recently. Yeah, that wasn't always the case, but yeah, I guess I've been doing it since I was 15, so kind of evolved as a songwriter, and for me, I always just try to think of ways to stay creative.
So tell me, recently you were on a TED Talk.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
That was a pretty amazing experience. There's so many famous musicians that have done it. I can say now, I mean, I've joined the ranks of, Bono and Sting, who have also given TED Talks. It's such an international thing, and I did it right here in Asbury Park. The theme was chaos, so I got to share parts of my whole diabetic tale and, how I've used some of that chaos to turn into positive things. So I always try to, this is me in general, when, bad things happen, I always try to see what can be learned from that and turn it into some type of a positive. And, the irony is, the very hospital that I almost died in is now like where I work my regular day job in the pediatric hospital. So I get to use my musical talents to help kids and families that are, in situations like I was in.
Did you really understand the whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, and music is such a spiritual thing that it goes even just beyond, playing and singing the notes correctly. The fact that I went through something like that, I'm really able to connect with a lot of patients and families.
I bet they're very moved by your story too. It gives hope.
It does, yeah. I mean, each day is a gift. It really is, and I think I've always tried to live like that, but I needed something drastic like that to happen to remind myself every day, because it is a miracle that I'm still here, and I try not to. I think that's why I stay as busy as I do all the time, because I try not to waste any time that we have here.
Yeah, I know you're very grateful for everything, and you definitely give that energy off to other people, which is great.
Thank you.
So, okay, once we cut. How do you think your music, how do you think music can help causes?
Well, I think music is a great way to help any cause, and I just from my own personal experience. I mean, I've done a lot of charity work. I've done a lot of stuff for JDRF, which helps type 1 diabetics. When my second record came out, I was on a website called Pledge Music. I did a pre-sale and donated a portion of the album sales right to JDRF. And I've done concerts in Belmar over the years where we've just donated the entire door to that. I've done stuff for pediatric cancer. I think the main thing is just finding a cause that you feel passionate about, that you want to help. And I'm a pretty easygoing person, so my friends and people that have known me, like in this music community, if something comes up, they ask me to help. They know that I will. So I did another diabetic fundraiser just a few months ago, actually, just because people know that that's something I'm passionate about and something I've been through. So,
what do you think about the music community in Asbury Park? How do you describe it?
I think it's a really unique community to be a part of, and as we were talking about, being a worldly person, being able to have experiences living in different parts of the country. Like I didn't experience anything like this when I was in LA. I felt very isolated when I was out there. And I have friends that are in Nashville now trying to, make their way that way. But here, I think musicians shouldn't take it for granted that we not only have the amount of talent in the same area that we do, but the fact that everybody kind of pulls together to help each other's projects too. I play with Brian Hansen band, become really good friends with those guys. So like if I have a full band show, they'll play my songs. If they need a keyboard player, I play with them. My friends Brian Erickson and Pete Stern of the Extensions, we play together a lot. Gwen Alden, Tom Bryant, we play together a lot. So there's a lot of shared talent that goes back and forth. So I think it's really cool here in Asbury Park that again we have not only have all that amount of talent, but that everybody's so willing to help each other's projects too.
And the venues around here you're finding are conducive to that?
I think, yeah, no, I think so. I think the days of these ticketed events are kind of, because they don't help the artists that much, honestly. And it's so cool that we have places like the Asbury Hotel where they're all ages shows and they're free to the public. So you get more people that just want to come in and enjoy the music itself. So that's one of my favorite places to play now in Asbury Park. But yeah, it's doing the TED Talks was amazing because it was inside Paramount Theater, and it's just such a historic theater on the Asbury Park boardwalk. So I was blown away to actually perform inside there on that stage. But yeah, again, we shouldn't take for granted the amount of venues that we have around here, because it is a really cool thing.
Well, thank you, Matt Cook, for coming by and doing this segment with us.
Thanks so much, Shannon.
Thank you. Come back soon and check out From the Stage. Thank you, everyone.